Hello, first grade. Welcome to your art lesson with your friendly neighborhood art teacher. I am here today to show you guys how to draw a feather, and we're going to work on a basic kind of bird shape today. Your expedition is the amazing bodies of birds. You guys have been studying birds, how they fly, how they move, their living habits in your classes. And in my class, you guys are drawing some birds, but we're going to review the basics. Your guiding questions: how do birds use their body parts to survive? How can we make the Amana Living Garden more bird-friendly? And how can our writing help with our community learn about birds? Your learning targets today for this art lesson is that I can observe basic shapes in nature to help with my drawing. I can draw a feather and label parts, and I can draw a bird in flight. Before we begin, you're going to need paper, pencil and an eraser, and coloring supplies. You can use lined paper, you can use copy paper, either is fine. You can use crayons, colored pencils, or markers. Whatever you need is fine. One of the things I want to remind you of is draw big. We're going to talk about the feathers first. I don't want you to know every single one of these, but I do want you to know words like shaft, quill, and vein. I want you to know which part of the feather is the soft part, the vein, which part is the middle, the shaft, and what is the end, called the quill. The shapes we're going to use is an oval. We'll use straight lines, diagonal lines, and curvy lines. And then birds. We're going to be using ovals, circles, triangles, squares. You'll use some curvy lines and some bumpy lines. And remember these three guys right now, the cardinal, the blue jay, and the brown thrasher, because we're going to come back to them in a few minutes. So we're going to work on the feather first. The feather, we start off by drawing a thin, long line, and then another thin line next to it. And if you remember what I said the middle is called, that one is the shaft. Next, we're going to draw a thin line coming off the top and two diagonal lines coming off. Looks like you've kind of made a big upside down W. We're going to come down here to the bottom, right about here. Don't go all the way down to the bottom. Don't stop right about there. I want you to come up about maybe the length of one of your fingers, knuckles, and make a line, one line coming up, and another line coming up. We're going to connect these two. And this is kind of a big, what shape? It's the big oval. This part of the feather is called the vein. That's the soft stuff that you touch when you feel a feather. So the shaft, I'll make that a little bit longer. Comes in right here. And this part down here is what? Who can remember? It's called the quill. Long time ago, when people used to write with pens and, the dipping and all that, that's what they wrote with, was this part down here. Now, usually down near the quill, there's these little soft feathers, and we're going to make them kind of a crescent shape. Well, that was your feather. Pretty easy, huh? Let's work next on drawing a bird. So we're going to work on a basic bird shape. Y'all have done this with me a lot, so I'm pretty sure you know what kind of shapes we're going to start with. We'll start with a circle for the head, and what for the body? Another oval. We're going to put a triangle for the beak. We're going to use a rectangle for the tail. Now, because this bird is flying, his wings are a little bit different than what we're used to drawing. So we're going to start off by drawing one line up, then one line off to the side and over. It looks kind of like a triangle, but it's not exactly like a triangle. And then we're going to do the same kind of thing on this side. We've got one line going out, one line coming this way, another one going back to the body. So this is the finished piece. Here are the shapes that we have right now. We're going through and we're going to erase some of these spots because remember, we don't see those. So erase that. We'll erase this part of the tail. We're going to erase inside where that head goes through the beak. Get some of that out of there. Now, I'm going to show you how to make the feathers on the bottom of the tail feather, or his tail. We're going to do 1 bump, 2 bump, 3 bump, 4 bump, and I'm going to make these lines darker and connect down to the bumps. Now our bird has some very long tail feathers, and I can erase that straight line down there. If you accidentally erase part of your tail, what do? Draw it again. Perfect. Let's come up here and we're going to do the same thing for the wings. We're going to draw bump, 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 bump. But I'm going to give you a little clue. We're going to make some of those bumps come down there too. We'll do the same thing over here. Bump, 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 bump. Don't go crazy with the bumps, okay? Don't put like thousands of them. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe 12, 10 or 12 at the most. We'll erase this part at the end so we don't see that straight line. And the same thing over here. And I can erase that part too. Now I can do like I did with the tail feather. I'm going to draw the lines. And I'm going to make these lines come back towards this line right here. You can see that all of these lines are going towards the wing. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Now our bird's almost done. I need to add an eye. I can make his beak look a little bit more like a real bird's beak. I can make this line darker. And we should probably give this poor little guy some feet, otherwise he's not going to be able to land anytime soon. So I'm going to draw some little feet there, little feet there, little feet there. Now, once you're done, I want you to go ahead and color our bird. I colored my first one like a brown thrasher. I think I'll do another one like a cardinal. So I know a cardinal has an orange beak and has red feathers, and he's got a black mask. That's not black, that's purple. There we go. And he's got his black mask, and it goes down around his chin some too. I'm going to keep his eye gray so I can tell where his eye is. Now, cardinals and blue jays have this little mohawk thing going on up here. So, I'm going to add it, and then I can erase that other part And then I'm ready to just start coloring. I'm not going to color the whole bird because I want you guys to have plenty of time to work. But I thought I'd at least show you the first part with the head. So, when you're coloring, make sure you're trying to stay neat and inside your lines. I'm going to color the whole bird. And you're going to be picking one of those 3 birds to make your bird look like him. So, you can draw a cardinal, you can do the brown thrasher, or you can do a blue jay. So your task for today is to draw 1 feather. Color the feather in a normal bird color. For the basic bird, draw 1 bird. Then color the bird like a blue jay, a cardinal, or a brown thrasher. If you need to add extra time to something, draw another feather and another bird, but this time you can be creative and come up with your own unique designs. Try to keep track of your artwork. I'd love to see it in the future when we come back. Plus, it will be helpful when we work upon this kind of subject again. If you have any questions, you can email me at afrans@amanaacademy.org. Bye, first grade.